Okay guys, Boogie Loop is no joke. Make sure to read through this disclaimer. Good luck!
Hey Kite homies, today we're talking about Boogie Loops. A Boogie Loop, if you don't know, is a front roll with a kite loop.
Let's start with
Prerequisites. What do we need to do? What kind of skills do we need to master in order to attempt this trick?
so the first thing that we wanted to focus on was Deadman. Deadman.
The Deadman is important because when you do an inverted front roll, you want to be able to pause in the Deadman position. So a Deadman is basically like you jump up in the air and you kick your legs up in the air and you stall any sort of rotations. When you're doing an inverted front roll, basically what you do is you rotate yourself forwards and you kick your legs up in the air and you stall yourself in the inverted position with the kite stable.
So we got the inverted front roll. Yeah. Inverted front roll. Steering the kite from upside down, getting used to that position.
So like for me, like when I want to learn boogies, I started doing, my front roll, I did the cartwheel and then I'd be upside down. I'd be looking at the kite. Of course, right now your steering is backwards, right? Because you're facing towards downwind instead of facing upwind. And you want to be able to steer the kite and control the kite so it doesn't come too forwards or too backwards. And if you can hold yourself in that position and keep the kite where you want to go so you can land softly, that's what I would consider an acceptable invert front roll to start thinking about the boogie. When you're doing your inverted front roll, you don't want to be doing a downwind inverted front roll. You need to, just like when you're doing a kite loop, you need to be able to do a very vertical takeoff. You're up in the air, and you're not going way downwind as you're doing your front roll. You're basically taking off vertical just as you would on a kite.
In the front roll, you need to be able to look around, see water, see the kite. Yeah, that's
what kind of clicked it for me is like I started doing inverted front rolls, and at first, I was pretty much just looking at the kite. I was like, I didn't have a lot of control. I didn't have a lot of feeling for the position. Sometimes the kite would move too much forward. Sometimes the kite would move too much backwards. When I got to the point where I was doing inverted front rolls, I could hold the kite in the exact position, and I could look downwind. So now I'm like up in the air. You can imagine I'm taking off, and I'm looking backwards, and I'm looking at the kite. I'm looking at the water. I have an awareness of all the positions around me. That's what gave me the confidence and like the feeling that I could start doing boogie loops.
So speaking of kite loop, do we need the kite loop or do we just do it without a kite loop?
Yeah, I think we have to talk about the kite loop. If you can't do a proper vertical takeoff, do a kite loop, have a recovery loop, you have no business trying a loop. Doing as many kite loops in as many conditions as you possibly can before you try a boogie loop.
You always loop, right, Lucas? Loop it! Front roll handdrag could be helpful, right?
Yeah, front roll handdrag is basically the same move, right? You're basically moving along the water, you're initiating a front roll, you're putting your hand on the water, and you're doing that is a boogie loop technically because you're still doing a front roll and a kite loop.
Doing front rolls, seeing how they feel, doing fill loops, seeing how they feel, then it feels confident to try boogie. You can start on a small kite. You can just do it 25 knots, 9 meter or 7 meter depending on your body weight and kite type. Some kites loop faster, some catch better. You know.
I would recommend trying on a small kite.
Definitely try the lift. It's a really nice one.
Lift, it's a great thing.
Yeah, and I guess the main thing about this is you can do them small and build up. Like it's one of those tricks that you don't have to do it at 10 meter high or 8 meter high. Or
I started 2-3 meters high. No
exactly, and you do a lot of those, and you just build up, and over time it becomes, you know, and you can work on your invention. The position of the front roll, body square to the kite when loop kicks in.
Yeah, so that's a big one. Is like a lot of times if you try and like do a flat front roll, so imagine you're doing a flat front roll and you initiate the loop here, you can imagine you're just going to get whipped around and probably over rotate, smash on the water.
Yeah.
That's why you need to do an inverted front roll, and when you're doing the inverted front roll, you need to make sure when the kite starts to pull you, your body is square to the kite.
Square, very square. Legs bent, frog position, square. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we just
Yeah,
said.
you don't want to have your legs straight because when it starts to pull you, your body will start to fall behind. Whereas if you have your legs square, when it pulls you, you can basically suck your body in and remain square to the kite.
Watch the kite, you know? Some people are scared to watch the kite, but you know, when you watch it, you kind of see a normal loop, and you know when to finish, when to let the bar out, right?
Exactly. You definitely want to watch the kite because a lot of times, especially with the boogie loop, you're kind of out of position or whatever, you're doing the loop with your body itself, so you need to be able to spot when the kite is hit the point where it's going to start to recover. You can sheet out the bar, even if you're upside down, even if you're not going upside down, it doesn't matter, but you need to be able to spot that exact point to sheet the kite out to get your proper recovery.
Yeah.
Not to over-rotate the kite or not to under-rotate the kite.
Yeah, exactly. So letting the bar out in the right moment. Keep your feet up, letting the kite drift behind when trying first. It becomes more of a late loop, which means you can kind of...
Yeah. So that's the other thing is like a lot of people when they're doing front rolls, they tend to pull the kite forwards because it's natural when you're relying on the bar in order to initiate your roll. And so now if the kite starts being pulled forwards and you start the loop, it's going to be a big nasty loop that's going to hurt you. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that the kite's drifting a bit back in the window the entire way before you initiate the loop, and then you're initiating it. It's a little later in the loop. It will have much less pull. It'll still recover quite nicely, and that's what I would recommend. Is really focusing on making sure the kite is kind of over at say 1 o'clock or something by the time if you're going to the left, 11 o'clock is going to the right.
You don't want to loop off the water, but I guess it also depends on the wind stand.
But even looping off the water is fine as long as the kite is in the right position.
Okay.
So the kite's not in front of you, it's behind you.
Do not cancel. Cancellation will result in death. No, just kidding. In the hard smash. So commit and watch the kite. Make sure to complete the loop.
Yeah. Always complete the loop no matter what. Even if you're going to hit the water by the time the loop completes and starts to recover, it's going to be better off than the kite pulling through the window.
You probably have a little bit of time to just kind of decide to loop it or not. But once you're looping, you're looping.
The thing is like all the ingredients that apply for a regular kite loop in that when you start to go up and you send the kite, if there's no pressure, if there's no tension in the lines, you abort. And all you do to abort is just bring the kite back towards.
Yeah, we did a nice tutorial with Coach Willows.
I think like for me, today I've been doing Boogie Loops for quite some time now, and today I've been really working on like initiating the front roll. And like a lot of times when we initiate the front roll, we initiate off the water, but I think with the Boogie Loop you don't want to do that. You kind of want to come in and you boost, and then when you're ready to loop, you're actually like forcing yourself into a invert position, kicking your legs up in the air, and as you're doing that, you'll feel tension build in the lines.
So it's a delay.
And that's when you're going to want to pull the loop. Because like if you start basically if you initiate the roll off the water, you basically detension the lines because your body gets pushed upwards. And so what you want to do is you want to initiate that push up into the front roll at the same time you're doing the loop.
I see what you mean. Yeah, so that makes a nice delay rather than just looping off the water and getting pulled downwind, and then you get a little height and it's aggressive, and that's what I've been doing for the longest time, and it's annoying. Yeah, do what he says. Closing comments? Keeping the legs up? That was a big one, right?
So like keep the legs up until the loop has finished, because that's it's gonna pull your body till you're facing the kite. If you come out of it and the kite's still pulling you, it can pull you into an off rotation.
Yeah.
So like keep yourself in that inverted position until the kite's probably come around to there, and then when it starts to recover, let yourself fall out of the rotation.
Okay, so there's some more. So magic tip from Mike McDonald, to get high with Mike. You need to get inverted position and pause. Imagine doing a front roll when you pause and fall on your head. You can practice that to get that lock-in feeling in the front roll.
And that's kind of like the Deadman. It's like you're doing a Deadman with a rotation.
So he said something to me like it's not a rotation, which might mean exactly that, right? Yeah.
Great front roll and good looping skills.
Yeah, it's a must. So loop, 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 and front roll. Okay, awesome.
You guys forgot to get medical insurance and life insurance.
For our spouses, yeah.
Some comments?
Some comments, some questions, or what you guys? Nothing.
You agree with the insurance part, right?
That they should have been dressed up a bit classier. I just wasn't being sold on this like
Fair enough. Yeah.
old Milwaukee drink, this science teacher wannabe that's going on
Well,
here
I mean,
at the top, but
Professor,
then
I'm sorry, professor.
If we're talking about-
sorry, okay, we're upgrading to professor here.
Tenured
I don't know
professor.
about the jogging pants being a professor's
It's called classy up top,
And-
party on the bottom. Okay?
and like the kind of socks you wear by the fire in the winter.
most of the ones. Okay.
Squamish water is very cold. Okay?
You got a kite in socks.
I really think it would have been better with a tie, but you know.
I think it might be better to do it topless next time.
Yeah. I think you guys should just be in Speedos. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Like Borat.
No.
Very nice tutorial.